Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you've ever wanted to be a podcast guest, the kind that gets invited back, the kind that turns a 30-minute conversation into real visibility and real opportunity, I built something for you. I want to tell you about the Amplify Your Message, the Podcast Guest Mastery Experience. It is everything I've learned from 800 plus interviews distilled into how to actually show up as a guest that people remember and get invited back. Early bird pricing is live for a limited time. Links are in the show notes. Let's get out there and help amplify your message. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Rebecca Whitman. She is an abundance mentor, an international best-selling author, a podcast host, a mindset coach, and the creator of the 7 Pillars of Abundance. Welcome, Rebecca. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Brad. It's great to be here. I'm doing great. I'm staying warm on a snowy Ohio day.
Yes, I am staying warm on a snowy, cold Toronto day.
Oh, wow.
We got hit with some snow last night, so we got more of it. And it's been really cold here lately. So today's it's warmed up a little bit, so it's nice. And I am so grateful to have you here. We were saying before we jumped on that it's been quite a while since we actually first connected. And then we got reconnected through Mike Searock's That One group on WhatsApp. So it's a pleasure and an honor to finally have you here. I'm looking forward to jumping in and sharing about all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a bit about your story and your journey. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Now, Rebecca, I want to go back to the beginning, before the titles, the awards, the podcast, the philosophy, the pillars. Who was that woman trying to earn her worth?
Well, I've always been an overachiever, and by the time I was 8 years old, I was playing national level tennis. So I was taught you have to earn attention. So I've been doing that all my life. Actually, my coaching is kind of a unraveling of that paradigm. And I feel like women are lovable just because they exist, not because they earn it. But going back to my story, so nationally ranked tennis player, honors in all my classes. I went to Princeton University to play on their tennis team, graduated from Princeton, moved to New York City, and I started into the network marketing space. Not by design. I just answered an ad and it literally said, circle me. And I had been fired by a couple of restaurants as a waitress. And I was like, wow, I can sell water filtration and retire in 5 years and be a millionaire. Like, I'd be crazy not to try it. So I did not retire in 5 years a millionaire, but I did learn very important sales and leadership principles and public speaking advice that I used the rest of my career. So my 20s were all about network marketing. My 30s were in LA pursuing my acting. And I had small parts on really big shows like Friends, CSI, 24, pretty much every show of the early 2000s, Just Shoot Me, you name it, King of Queens. And I didn't quite catch my break as an actress. So I found myself working at children's acting schools. And that's really where I started my philosophy deep dive, because while the kids were off at school, I had my days free to attend lectures with great thought leaders like Michael Beckwith, Esther Hicks, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson. And I started applying the law of attraction to my job at the kids acting school. And before I knew it, I was making 6 figures working part-time, which is the name of my book.
Wow.
Yeah, at a kids acting school, which is unheard of. And I applied it to my health and got in the best shape of my life. I did not apply it so well to my love life because I was in the habit of picking emotionally unavailable narcissistic men and trying to change them, which is a sad and exhausting hobby. And of course, we know people do not change.
No.
And I married someone like that who was very emotionally and verbally abusive. And after 3 years, I filed for divorce. And as the marriage was unraveling, so was my dad's life back in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I'm from. And I would fly back and forth from LA to Cincinnati, having conversations with my dad. And in one of our last conversations, he said, the way you're living life is really different than most. I think you should write a book. So my dad was buried on a Wednesday. My divorce was finalized on a Friday. And a few months later, I was sitting across the desk from my financial planner, and he said, Rebecca, even though you lost your dad in your marriage this year, you've had your best financial year ever, actually become a millionaire. And
Wow.
and I think you should teach women how to be resilient. So that's when I wrote the book, How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time. And I divide life into 7 key areas. I call them the 7 pillars of abundance. And when you have all 7 areas of your life in alignment, now you can be, do, or have anything you want. So now I'm married to my soulmate. We just bought our dream house in Cincinnati, Ohio. We've been here exactly a year. And I am coaching women to go from burned out and overwhelmed to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. As you can see, the sign behind me, that's the name of my podcast. And I really believe that high achieving women can achieve success through alignment, not the hustle and grind.
Absolutely. Wow. What a journey and an incredibly beautiful story. I mean, we have been conditioned to believe that this hustle culture bullshit is where we need to be. And I think that we're seeing people wake up and realize that no, things don't have to be done this way. This is not the way to do things, because in the process, we're harming our bodies. We're burning ourselves out, as you mentioned, burning out and all of these things. And we're not achieving what we want to achieve. And it's not happiness, and it's not this. And it's not sustainable is what it is. It is completely not sustainable. But we've been fed this lie that you have to work hard in order to be successful. And yes, you have to work hard, but you don't have to work 70, 80 hours a week to achieve success or achieve happiness or any of these things. It's a complete lie. And we need to shift that mindset and that way of thinking, because it's just not sustainable at all.
Yeah, I agree. So the book Think and Grow Rich really changed my life, because it talks about 3% of the population are business owners and 97% of the population are employees. And the 3%, they're working, but they're also on the golf course and at the country club and taking vacations. And they have trained the 90%, 97% to work hard for them so that they can make money while they're sleeping. So I encourage women to become a 3%er by launching their own business. And that way you can use other people's efforts, other people's ideas, and other people's money. Because just doing it all yourself, you have a limited amount of days in the week, weeks in a year, hours in a day, and your income is capped, and you're just like a gerbil on the or a hamster on the hamster wheel going around and around. And, you know, I feel like life is such a precious gift, and it's too short not to be enjoyed.
It is. We only get one shot at this life, so you might as well make it the best possible shot you can take and go after what you want. Anything you can dream of is possible. We are capable of doing absolutely anything. And we can't do this thing alone. It's impossible. We cannot. You have to do it in community. You have to have support in your life in order to achieve the things you want to achieve. It's impossible.
I agree. And women especially, we used to,
for sure,
prior to the millennials, like Gen X and baby boomer women were competing for male attention. And we were not collaborating. And then the millennials kind of changed it all. And I'm so grateful to them, because now Gen X has caught on. And so have the baby boomers, like collaboration over competition, and high tide raises all ships. And yes, to achieve great things, you really have to do it in community, because doing it by yourself it's lonely, and it's not as fun, and it's not as effective.
It's isolating. And, you know, I learned early on in my entrepreneurial journey that around the competition, because competition mindset was something I was stuck in. And I learned early on, thankfully, I had a mentor that taught me that the only competition I have is me. As long as I can look back and see that I'm improving and I'm growing and I'm expanding, that's all that matters. Nobody else is me. That's one of my superpowers. Nobody else has what I have. No one else can offer my clients what I offer them. So when you get into that mindset and realize that the only competition you have is you, and you can look back and see that you're improving time, day over day over day, that's all that matters. And that's the most important thing. Can you share a moment then in your journey where something looked abundant on the outside, but inside you knew you were out of alignment? And what was cracking beneath the surface there for you?
I would definitely say my marriage. I got married when I was 41, and I felt like I wanted to fit into society's mold for women, and successful, in my opinion, then successful women were married and love and having this beautiful relationship. And if you looked at my social media, it looked like I was happily in love. I was totally faking it. But then behind closed doors, it was a very toxic, abusive situation. Thank God, not physically, but definitely emotionally. And I just had an epiphany. I was sitting in a therapist's office in West LA, and it was very typical of what you would think a therapist office would be. There was a Buddha feng shui fountain by the door and bone broth in the kitchen and incense, and it was looking and feeling peaceful. But my ex-husband and I were fighting bitterly and screaming in her office. And all of a sudden, she just looked at me and she said, "Rebecca, do you want to be married?" And a voice that was not my own, which I now know I channeled, I just said, "I want a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity." And I knew in that moment that I had a whole paradigm shift, that it was more important to feel good on the inside than to look good on the outside. And if something does not feel good or feel right, then I have the choice to get out of it.
Yeah. Wearing those masks and putting on the facade can get exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. Mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. It all ties in.
Yeah. I mean, all the 7 pillars are connected. And when one is off, I like to say they're like spokes on a bicycle wheel. When one is broken, then all the others are broken. So it's spirituality. The 7 pillars are spirituality, fitness, emotions, romance, mental, social, and financial. And it's not really work-life balance, even though I say that. It's more like a symphony. It's work-life harmony, because there are certain seasons of life where you're more focused on certain pillars than others.
Right. I love that work-life harmony. That's beautiful. So what did staying in that misalignment cost you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and how long did you try to push through before that session, before that moment in the therapist's office?
Well, I used to have a dating relationship coach that said you have to stay in the relationship until you get physically sick, and that's when you get the lesson. And I mean,
that's horrible
I
advice.
know. So I got gallbladder disease while I was in the relationship, and I was on vacation with my parents in Florida, and I almost died. I mean, I had to go to the ER. I was so sick, and they wanted to remove my gallbladder right away. But I knew it was one of my last vacations with my parents. So I was like, if I can spend the night in the hospital and wake up and feel normal, that I'm not going to have my gallbladder removed. And sure enough, I woke up, everything was fine. And then a few years later, in April of 2020, it became a life or death. If I didn't get my gallbladder removed like that second, I would have died because I had gallstones blocking my bile duct. And it was like 2 surgeons had to do an emergency surgery at the same time. And because it was April of 2020, nobody was in the ER. So luckily they were both available. But literally, the gallbladder disease that started in that marriage almost resulted in my life. And I looked up in Chinese medicine, gallbladders is, that's where you hold your anger. So because I wasn't processing the anger from that relationship, it all went into my gallbladder. But yes, it literally became a life or death situation.
Nearly cost you your life. That's holy shit. The fact, we so often we don't pay attention to the signs that our body gives us. We ignore them until it gets to that point where you were at. It's like, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. Your body will give you that final, and then it's going to quit. It's going to say, enough. We can't keep going like this. You have to do something.
You have to. So I realized that it was a bad marriage and that the gallbladder disease had something to do with it. But they said, oh, if you don't get your gallbladder removed today, you're going to need emergency surgery one day and it could be life and death. And I was like, well, I'll worry about that when it gets there. And sure enough, that moment came.
Yeah, no, holy shit. That is
Yeah.
crazy. Well, grateful you're here. You listened. You took care of what needed to be taken care. It's unfortunate that it had to get to that point, but sometimes I guess that's what it takes. It takes the 2x4 from the universe instead of listening to the little pebbles, which then turn into rocks, which then turns into a boulder, which then turns into a 2x4. Sometimes that's what it takes to listen.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you have to get hit over the head by a 2x4.
Was there a single moment or quiet accumulation of moments when you realized that you could no longer outwork the misalignment for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, could you repeat the question?
Yep. Was there a single moment or a quiet accumulation of multiple moments where you realized that you could no longer outwork the misalignment that you were feeling?
I think that there was that moment in the therapist's office where I said, I just want a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. That was my burning bridge moment. And I have not completely mastered workaholism. I still tend to go back to workaholism. So it is truly a discipline of looking at life through these 7 pillars and making sure, okay, did I get my morning routine in, which is spirituality? Did I get a workout in or walk? Am I staying, out of fear and in love? Am I having my weekly date night? Am I having my social visit with friends or family? It is truly a framework that keeps me out of just focusing on work, because I think that's just ingrained in me. And that's why I love coaching people on how to get out of workaholism, because I'm someone who is conscious about, I don't want to be a workaholic. I still want to get results, but I want to do it through magnetizing. That's why I call myself the magnetic abundance mentor. For example, how I met you, Brad, is I did ask you, can I be on your podcast? You found me on Instagram, touch. Then you found me again through this huge WhatsApp chat with 1,000 people. And it's that's what happens when I'm in alignment. I magnetize the right people, places, and opportunities. And instead of chasing and pushing and convincing, it's just effortless. Things just come to
me. Yeah. It's, when we do that, when we are in flow, it's just such a beautiful process, and we're not chasing, we're not pushing it. That's what we all need to step into, is that flow. But in terms of the workaholism, it's, when you love what you do, it's hard not to fall into those patterns of continually working, especially when you love what you do. It's that much harder, I think, to get past that and to push through that and to realize that no, I got, as much as I love what I do, I've got to take the time for me to step back. And to your point, to what you said, the 7 pillars, spread yourself out around and among those 7 pillars and enjoy the other parts of life aside from work. You said you still struggle with that. So when you find yourself struggling with that, what snaps you out of it, or what brings you back to, oh, wait a minute, I've got to step away for a little while?
Yeah. Well, for example, I try to end my workday at around 6, but as an entrepreneur with 5 different businesses, nothing is ever completed by 6. So I get to be my own boss and be like, okay, 6 is when our workday ends. And sometimes, if I really have an important task that I'm preparing for, I'll tell my husband, after dinner, I'm just going to work for an hour. And then I have to put a timer on myself, because if I really get into it, I could work more than an hour. So it's really just setting boundaries with myself. Also, having the rule of no cell phones at the table is a really good rule, because it's so easy to, you keep with yourself, you could just keep working through every meal. And that also diminishes my romantic pillar, where I want to stay present and connected with my husband. So it's really about just having clear boundaries with myself.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What did choosing alignment require you to give yourself permission to feel, say, or stop doing?
Well, choosing alignment over the hustle and grind I have to give myself permission to rest and give myself permission to fill my cup up first. A lot of women think that self-care is selfish. I say that self-care isn't selfish, it's crucial, because our energy is like a cup of tea. If you keep pouring out and you're the perfect wife, daughter, employee, neighbor, and you're completely exhausted and depleted, you're eventually going to get sick. So you could even die from burnout. Like the top money earner in the history of network marketing, the top female money earner, she was 34 and she died of colon cancer, which basically was like, she was a workaholic making almost $1 million a month, but then she died at 34. So what was the point? So she's like a cautionary tale. Her name is Jessie Lee, and you can look her up. There's tons of stuff about her online. She used to have her own podcast. She's an incredible person, but she literally died of workaholism. So if you don't align your life in these 7 areas and fill yourself up first with spirituality, community, romance, mental and personal growth, and all the different things that the 7 pillars entail, you will burn out. You could burn out and die of anything. You know, people die of codependency and romantic obsession. You could die of anorexia if you get too focused on the physical or take too many steroids. Like, it's not just workaholism. Like, if you just get hyper focused on one of these 7 pillars, that is not living a fully integrated, aligned life. So it's not every pillar all the time. It's certain pillars you do every day. Like the spirituality I do every day. I write in an abundance journal. It is the best thing I've ever found in my life for my spirituality. And I'll tell you the story about that in a minute. I'm going to gift that with your listeners. The second pillar is fitness. I try to do body before business and get my workout done in the morning. The third pillar is emotions, coming from abundance and love, not fear or scarcity. Then romance, mental, growing mentally and learning something every day, like the great listeners who are listening to your show, Empowerography, are doing. Social, having a community that lifts you up and supports you. And then finally, financial, having multiple streams of income. I'm a huge believer that everybody needs 3 to 5 streams of income just to keep their life exciting and to have a diversified portfolio. So if one business is not having a great month or year, the other ones are. So that's pretty much the philosophy. So I don't do every pillar all day long. I know certain ones I'll touch once a week, certain ones I'll touch every day, and just knowing that I don't want to just become obsessed with one area of my life and let the other ones go to the wayside.
You were going to share a story. You said there's a story.
How I found the abundance journal. So I am a recovering alcoholic. And in one of my first meetings, I sat down next to a woman named Janet, and she said, "Rebecca, this is how you write in a God journal." And she gave me these incredibly life-changing, paradigm-changing journal prompts. And I never saw her again. I still can remember her like it was yesterday. I met her in 1990. And I think she's an angel because every day since I've met her, so we're talking 36 years, I've been writing these journal prompts, and I've added a few of my own. And it has absolutely sculpted my thinking from fear to love, from negative to positive. It's helped me integrate my life experience and learn the lessons from it, learn the lessons from other people's life experience. And this is my number one tool for communicating with my higher power, which I choose to call God. So I am going to gift that as well as a copy of my book, How to Make a 6-Figure Income Working Part-Time, to all your listeners. You can grab it. It's called the Balanced Beautiful Bundle. It's on my link in bio on Instagram and also my pillar link. But yeah, so this journal is something that I've done every day for 36 years.
Wow.
And I absolutely love it.
How many journal prompts are there? I love that. I've been using the 5-minute journal every day for journaling, and I've filled that up. So I'm looking for something new to start. So this is perfect timing. I love it.
I would say you could get it done in 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe there's 6 or 7 questions, and that's it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Well, beautiful. I will get that when we are done.
I promise you, if you do it 10 days in a row, you will
Hmm.
have a miracle, which is a shift in consciousness, a shift in
Beautiful. I
perception.
love that. Thank you very much for that beautiful gift as well, Rebecca. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure the listeners will absolutely love that too. So
You're
thank you for
welcome.
that. What's a shadow belief about abundance you had to confront in yourself? Something you were teaching others before you actually fully healed it yourself?
A shadow belief that I still work on every day. I don't think I've healed it yet. I don't know if I ever will because I have an ego. Is comparison.
Mm,
Is, well, why are they getting something that I want? Why are they having an easier time? Why do they have more of what I think I need to make me happy? And it's literally comparing and despairing. And it's comparing my insides with other people's outsides, because on the outside, people put their best foot forward. They look great. They say everything's going great on
mhm,
Instagram and Facebook. But I know that everybody has it from coaching high achieving women. I know that
mhm,
everybody has an internal struggle, and it's just part of the human condition to have challenges and self doubt and to be overcoming obstacles all the time. But I don't remember that. And I get very competitive and jealous. And I'm like, oh, well, where's
mhm,
my stuff? They're getting what I want. Why is it so hard for me? So definitely comparison and self-pity. And I have a way to overcome that. And it's called the
mhm,
4 A's of transformation. So the first A, like let's say the limiting belief is, why is it so much easier for them? Okay.
mhm,
So the first A is the awareness. I have this limiting belief
mhm.
of, why is it so much easier for them and it's hard for me? The second A is
Yeah.
acceptance, not to judge yourself and saying, oh, well, I've done so much work. I've been listening to a Empowerography and I've been going to all these seminars. Why am I still so jealous? So don't judge yourself, accept
Mhm,
it. The third A is affirm, the opposite of the limiting belief. So the opposite of, why is it so easy for them and hard for me, is um, whatever it is, abundance and love comes so easy for me. Why is it so easy for me? And I just love, all the abundance coming into my life. Those would be
mhm,
examples of affirmations. You could use any one of them. And then the fourth
mhm,
A is contrary action. So if I'm looking at somebody's stuff and I'm jealous, I will do the opposite and say, wow, congratulations. I'm really inspired by you. And ask them maybe for their help. Like, what was the turning point and how you got this, which is a contrary action. So those are the 4 A's of transformation. And that's what I do when I get into my own limiting beliefs.
I love that. Beautiful. Comparison is the thief of joy. It least of all serves us best. And so learning to turn that volume down, because like you said, we are constantly growing and evolving. And just because we've worked on, let's use comparisonitis as, doesn't mean that it's gone forever. It's just we've learned and gathered tools to use in order to turn the volume down on those gremlins when they pop into our heads, and utilize those to help us get through it a little bit quicker. So I love that, the 4 A's. Thank you for sharing that, Rebecca.
Yes. And I'm not an ascended master just because I have a podcast and wrote a book. Like, I'm
Mhm,
definitely someone who is working on these things all the time. And that is really the best way to teach from my own experience. And it always happens that my coaching client will have an issue that is exactly the same issue I'm going through, but you only have to be a half a step ahead of someone on the mountain to pull them up with you. That's really how it
yes.
is sometimes. I'm just a half a step ahead of my clients.
And there's always someone up above you to pull you up. That's how it
Absolutely.
goes.
And
The whole,
I always have a coach for all things,
yeah.
fitness, business, dating, or marriage now. So yeah, I'm all about having people who are better than me. And if you can't afford a coach, listen to a podcast, find a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently got back into competitive tennis after taking 30,
Oh, wow.
and it's been very challenging and very fun. But I've been listening to YouTube videos. I've hired a tennis
Hmm.
coach. Like, I've hired a bunch of tennis coaches for different thoughts. So I'm all about being coached.
What prompted you to jump back into tennis after all this time? I'm
That
curious.
is a great question. I was starting to play in LA just for fun, which I loved, just practicing and just doing it to be outside and for a cardio workout, because I don't love cardio. My joke is Amazon is my cardio. So it kind of makes me run around. And then I moved to
Hmm.
Cincinnati, and they don't have as many just drills just for fun. It's more like leagues and matches. So,
Hmm.
against my better judgment, I guess, I got pulled back into these very competitive matches and leagues. And these are women in their 50s. You think they were playing the finals of Wimbledon for millions of dollars. I mean, they are very competitive.
And how are you finding this getting back in after all this time?
I am really overcoming childhood trauma because I said at the beginning of the interview, I thought I had to win to be lovable. So
Mhm.
that makes the stakes incredibly high. And I am learning to like rewire my nervous system and my mind. No, I'm already lovable. This is for fun. This
Mhm.
is for a workout. The stakes are not high. There's nothing at stake. I'm just having fun. And it's learning how
Mhm.
to put my ego in my back pocket and just enjoy the fact that I have a body, that I have the heart and the lung capacity to run around. And
Mhm.
I'm still in the process of reframing it because even though I know this intellectually, I still get very nervous before the matches.
I think having the nerves is a good thing because I mean I'm a photographer as well, and I've been shooting for decades, and I still get nervous before a photo shoot. So I think it's good. It's a very fine line when that nervousness and the fear
Right.
paralyzes you. It's good in a way because it keeps you grounded. It keeps you from going in too cocky, too overconfident. Oh, I've got this, no problem. So I think fear and the nervousness, the nerves are a very good thing. It's just when it crosses that line of paralytic
Right.
fear or paralytic nerve, then you've got a problem. But I think it's very good to have that. But so are you enjoying
I
it though,
am
Rebecca? Like, are you enjoying being
enjoying
back in?
relearning the sport because when I played
Hmm.
mostly singles. So learning
Hmm.
doubles, it's fun getting to know other people and playing as a team. It's back to the thing about collaboration.
Hmm.
I am enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying the mental reframe because this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm going back to the exact tennis club where I grew up playing as a kid, where I had all this internalized trauma of I have to win to be likable and lovable, and I get to come back as a
Wow.
50 something. Last time I played there, I was
Hmm.
18, and literally rewire and re-experience everything. And it's the same club, the same smells, the same everything. It's almost like a Disney movie, but I'm thinking of it as like a psychological like experiment of reframing, and it's been a process, but I'm
Hmm.
determined to do it. Everyone's like, you don't have to do it, you can just play for fun. I'm like, no, I'm up for this challenge. I can do it. Like I can reframe this.
Isn't that incredible though? The universe has such a beautiful way of making shit happen. You can't make this shit up. What are the chances you're going to end up back at the exact same tennis
I
club you
mean,
played at when you were a
I
kid?
feel like my whole like first half of my life, I ran in a huge circle, and literally I can
Hmm.
almost see my high school from this window. Like I'm 5 minutes from my high school. I'm playing at the same tennis club. I left Cincinnati to become rich and famous or marry someone rich and
Hmm.
famous. And, God had other plans for me, but I'm not complaining. I'm very happy with where I am and enjoying rediscovering Cincinnati when I never thought
Hmm.
I'd come back. And the city has really grown a lot and changed, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, that's incredible. You just can't make this shit up. It's amazing. So, how has your definition of abundance evolved as your soul's work has deepened?
Oh, I love this question. Well, abundance used to be having an abundance of stuff, like an abundance of money or clothes. Now, abundance is more like theoretical. It's an abundance of energy, an abundance of peace, an abundance of love. It's changed from stuff to a feeling. And I believe that all emotions come from love or fear. So if and this is from the Course in Miracles, it's not my philosophy, but all positive emotions, appreciation, happiness, contentment, satisfaction, bliss, ecstasy, joy, they're all love-based. You could also say they're all abundance-based. Scarcity or fear is jealousy, bitterness, like we were saying, comparison, anxiety, depression, sadness, cynicism. They're all from fear or scarcity. So it's more of a mindset or a feeling than an accumulation of stuff.
Okay, beautiful. So in your work, which of the 7 pillars do you see most commonly out of alignment for high achieving women? And why do you think that's the one they ignore the longest or the most?
The most common one I see out of alignment is health. I don't know if it's the same in Canada. I would guess it is, but for both men and women, there's an obesity epidemic, and even children. 1 out of 3 people in this country is pre-diabetic. So I feel like health is last on their priorities. They are prioritizing their work and their kids and their marriages and, being a good neighbor, employee, or employer, but they put their own health last. And I encourage women to put their health first, because health is wealth. And if you have your health, you have every opportunity in the world at your fingertips. But if you don't have your health, your whole life becomes about getting healthy again. And it's paramount that women and men budget exercise and workouts into their day. And even if they could just do 20 minutes or just walk for 30 minutes a day after a meal, just having an awareness about health. And a lot of people are very specific because of the law of attraction about what they, say, but then they'll just put anything in their mouth. So I just go to a lot of conferences with high achieving women that are not taking care of their health. And as someone who likes having coaches, like if I have a coach who is not in shape and they're asking me to sign up for their high ticket program, I'm very hesitant, because I see, well, she's out of alignment. Maybe she's a business coach, but she's not living life in the 7 pillars of abundance. And a lot of times that happens where I meet a coach who is not taking care of herself.
Well, I mean, this all ties into the conditioning, and that women have had to deal with and endure about putting everyone else first. It's your family, it's your friends, it's your community, it's your partner, it's your kids, it's all of these things, and then you get what's left over. And this needs to shift, and people need to wake up and realize that no, especially women, because of the conditioning, I need to put myself first. This is not selfish, as we've been conditioned to believe. It is actually selfless to put yourself first, because then, to your point you made earlier, you have that much more to give to those you choose to give to. But first and foremost, you give to yourself first.
I totally agree. And women, the worst thing you could call a woman is selfish. And now if somebody calls me selfish, I say, thank you, because that means I'm putting myself first and going against the grain of how women are acculturated to put everyone else first. Because if I don't put myself first, I have nothing to give anybody else. If I show up at an event out of fear, obligation, or guilt, and I'm exhausted, I'm no fun to be around anyway. It's better that I just stay home and rest if I'm feeling that way. So I also tell my clients, don't do anything out of fear, obligation, or guilt. If it's not lighting you up, then don't do it.
Yeah, I had someone tell me a few years ago, if it's not a hell yes, don't do it.
Yeah, walk away from the hell maybes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What, in your opinion, is one of the most damaging or biggest lies we've been sold about abundance? And who does that lie actually benefit, do you think?
Wow, you are really a good host. I've never been asked these questions. I've been doing over 200 podcasts.
Thank you. I received that.
The biggest lie is created by the advertisers and the corporations telling us that we need more stuff to be
consumerism.
Consumerism. You need a newer car or a bigger house or whiter teeth or, this next vacation. And they're lying to us, telling us that something on the outside is going to fill our God-sized hole. And it is an inside job, which is why I love this abundance journal so much. It's really helped me work on that and deepen my relationship to my higher power. But it's a lie. There are no there are no U-Hauls following hearse. You can't take stuff with you to the other side. It's about contribution, impact, memories, loving people, being of service, having fun, but it's not about stuff. But if the corporations believed that, then the economy would stop and we'd stop buying stuff that we think is going to fix us. So
I love that you said all of this, especially the piece of, because I say this too. Have you ever seen a U-Haul being pulled behind a hearse? No, you haven't. Of course you haven't, because you can't take that shit with you. That stuff is meaningless. It means nothing. You don't need all that stuff in your life to fill a hole. And I understand the lack feeling or the something's missing feeling, but all the stuff you buy is not going to fill that. It's not going to make it any better. It may temporarily make you feel better or make you think you feel better, but it's not going to shift anything. So I love that you shared all of it. It is so important that people realize that all that stuff is not going to change who you are. It starts in here. It's an inside job. You have to start here. The foundation for absolutely everything is within us. We are the foundation, period.
I agree. It is an inside job, and I'm not a minimalist. Like, I do have a lot of stuff, like luxury, and I like the feeling of like nice hotels and nice fabrics and delicious food.
Sure.
But not for the accumulation, more just for having a sensory experience in the moment with it.
Well, life is about experiences. Instead of, I spoke with a woman a few years back, and we were talking about Christmas gifts for her kids, and she says, we don't give gifts, we give experiences. Like, we'll buy trips and we'll take trips together, because it's about creating these experiences, not about accumulating all this stuff that really, like when we talk about kids, you buy them the toys, they're going to outgrow those toys and not want them. What good are they? It ends up in the garbage. So it is about having impact. It is about being in and of service. I believe that is the biggest part of why we're here, is to be in and of service to one another, to support each other, to cheerlead each other, to lift each other. That is everything.
I agree. When I used to work at the kids' acting school business, which I did for 20 years, I would say to the kid and the parent, what did you give your kid for Christmas last year? And I would say to the kid, do you remember what you got for Christmas last year? And they never would remember it. But I said, if you have this acting class and you learn how to speak well and have poise and confidence and communicate, you're going to have these skills for the rest of your life. So yes, most people don't even remember the stuff. They remember how to feel and the experiences.
Exactly. And so, speaking of having more, a lot of people think abundance does mean that, having more stuff. So how do you define the difference between abundance and accumulation, and why does confusing the two keep people stuck?
Well, that's a 3-part question. Okay, let me just give me one part at a time. The first part is what?
A lot of people think abundance means having more. So how do you define the difference between abundance and accumulation?
Well, it's kind of like we were just talking about. Abundance is a feeling of more than enoughness versus a feeling of, oh my God, I don't have enough. So we have our regular brain, and then we have our reptilian brain, which is known as the limbic system or the reticular activating system. And that is a part of our brain that even a one-celled organism has. That's like fight, flight, life or death. And that comes from the caveman and cavewoman era, where if we didn't do something, we would be eaten by, a dinosaur or a woolly mammoth. So we better get going. And that can be, people fall into their limbic brain, like competing over a parking spot. Oh my God, like I'm going to get the spot over this person if it's the last thing I do, or cutting someone off in traffic. And that is not how an evolved human being thinks. So having a brain where we can actually choose our own thoughts is what differentiates us from every other mammal who does have a limbic system. So choosing abundance over scarcity. There's more than enough parking spots. There's more than enough room for everyone in this traffic jam. There's there's more than enough time, energy, money, food, of whatever it is. So it's a feeling, not an accumulation. And it's a mindset, having an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. Okay, what's the second part of the question?
Second part was, why does confusing those two things keep people stuck?
Because if you're always chasing after stuff, you're never going to be happy, because there's always a newer car, a younger, hotter spouse. There's always something that is more, better, and different than what you already have. And unless happiness is not getting what you want, it's wanting what you have and appreciating it. So unless you really appreciate and have gratitude for what you have already, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to be in acquisition mode. And it's
right. Gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude is the secret sauce to a happy life. And that's what gets you out of accumulation, being grateful for what you have. And then the third part to the question, Brad.
No, that was it. That was it. A lot of people.
Question.
No, that's okay. That was it. And so I'm going to be vulnerable and honest here. This is something that I still struggle with, and I'm still working on. And again, we're always working on stuff, but I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Why is receiving often harder than creating? And how does unhealed identity or trauma play into that? Like, I have a lot of trouble receiving, and I've been working on it for a few years, and because I didn't even realize I was having trouble receiving. And someone once told me that you have to learn to receive, because that keeps the cycle going. Give, receive, give, receive. So you have to learn how to receive. And it's very difficult. So why do you think it's often harder than creating?
Because receiving is vulnerable, because you're admitting that you need help and you need support. And a lot of men and women with masculine energy, they want to be a lone wolf and do everything on their own and not be in a pack and just hunt and eat and just be on their own. But the happiest wolves are part of a pack, and they get to sleep on each other and have the warmth and share the kill and celebrate the hunt and all the stuff. So it is being a lone wolf, and you don't get hurt when you're a lone wolf, because maybe, you've trusted someone in the past to help you and they didn't come through, and you felt overpromised and under-delivered, and you just made a decision. I'm just going to do it on my own, so I never have to feel that vulnerable again. But it's really the difference of feminine and masculine energy. So feminine energy is receptive, available, respectful, and masculine energy likes to compete, control, and conquer. And everybody has a masculine and a feminine side. So receiving is feminine, and it is vulnerable, and because you're admitting that you need help, and asking for help is part of receiving. And telling people, I really would love your support. I really need your advice. I need your opinion. I need your help. That is very vulnerable, because you're admitting that you don't have all the answers and that you would like support.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
With you?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, very much so. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. In your work with your clients, what do you find is tougher for them? Learning how to create abundance, or learning how to receive it without guilt, shame, or over justifying?
I think they're two sides of the same coin, but I think with the women I work with, because they're high achieving women who are in their masculine energy, it's hard for them to receive it. Because when a woman is like, nope, I got my own door, I got my own groceries, I got my own luggage, nope, I don't need your help, they are actually pushing people away. And when they ask for help, they are, yes, you can help me with my groceries. Yes, you can. Thank you for getting the door. They're being feminine and they're being vulnerable. And high achieving women don't trust people because they don't want to be hurt. So in order to really be abundant, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in all these areas, it is important to be able to ask for help and support, and to receive graciously. So I like to tell my clients, yes, please, and thank you are complete sentences. You can start with a compliment. If somebody compliments you, I liked when you said, I received that. A lot of
Hmm.
people who don't like to receive will negate the compliment. Like someone will say, "Oh, I love your shirt." And
Yes.
I'm like, "Oh, this whole thing, I've had it for 2 years." Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
right, got it on sale for, $20."
Hmm.
So instead of just saying thank you is a complete sentence, yes is a complete
Hmm.
sentence, please is a complete sentence. Don't worry about negating when people are trying to receive. Just practice receiving, and that spills over into money and clients as well.
Yeah, I've been learning and practicing that. Saying thank you, and I receive that. I appreciate that. All of these things, because you're not only, yes, you're negating what they say, but you're also, I think that's being disrespectful. Rebecca, how much of women's struggle with abundance is actually a worthiness issue disguised as a money or mindset problem?
Oh, that is such a good question. I think it is a lot, 80% of a worthiness issue, because women, they think that they are not getting equal work for equal pay. And that is definitely inherent in the American and probably in the Canadian
Yep.
economy. But that is why I encourage them to go outside their traditional corporate job and start a side hustle where they can turn their passion into a profitable business, and they can make up for the wage gap that way, and also have more excitement and fun and stimulus in their life by having this exciting side
Yeah,
business.
I love that. And the suggestion of creating a side hustle to eventually, I mean, I would imagine the hope would be to eventually make that a full-time thing, but at least something to break up the energy of the corporate life and just give you something to be more passionate about.
It depends if they don't like their job.
Yeah.
I would encourage them to leave, but I like having multiple streams of
Hmm.
income. I encourage my clients to have 3 to 5 streams of income, because if they have a traditional job and they have a little extra money, they can reinvest it in their own business. And there's software and virtual assistants and education, coaching, all kinds of things that help entrepreneurs succeed. And sometimes when they have a traditional job and they reinvest the extra income in their own business, it makes it easier.
For sure. And so, where do you see women shrinking the most, spiritually, romantically, or financially? And what fear is usually driving that contraction that you've seen?
I think they are shrinking the most financially
Hmm.
out of the ones you gave me. Out of all 7 pillars of abundance, I think it's physical,
Okay.
which is the second pillar, that they put their health last and they put everyone else first. And by the time they get to work out or cook for themselves healthy food, it's too late in the day. And oh, well, the kids already had the McDonald's, I might as well eat that. So I think health, or the second pillar, physical, is definitely where they put themselves last. And then secondly, it's financial.
Hmm.
I think a lot of women have a fantasy, I know I used to, that I was going to have a knight in shining armor whisk me away and pay all my bills, and I'd never have to work again. And that's just not reality. I mean, it's very rare for only one person in the couple to work.
Hmm.
And I really feel like both women and men need to contribute. And I call that being a power
Yeah.
couple. I like the dynamic of a power couple more than a breadwinner and a
Yeah,
homemaker.
for sure. For sure. And I mean, for so long, that's what it's been in society. And this is what has been expected of women, is to be the homemaker, and the man is bringing in the money and supporting the family. And so it's a shift, and we are seeing that for sure. More women are stepping out and wanting their own money, to be sovereign, to have their own lives that they can support themselves and do the things that they want to do as well.
There's more women becoming entrepreneurs between ages 34 and 54 than any other time in US history or Canadian history.
Wow.
It's a boom of women in midlife stepping into entrepreneurship.
Now, do you think that's coming from just being tired of the corporate life, or is it, you think it's a mix of a few things?
I think it's wanting their own money so that they can make decisions, and also their own thing, outside of corporate America, building their own dream and their own equity instead of a boss's or a company's dream or equity is what women want. Women are truly stepping into their power by becoming entrepreneurs in a big way.
Yeah, it's huge. It has. I definitely noticed it through all the conversations. It is exploding, and I think it's absolutely amazing to see. It's so powerful. It is. It's a really exciting time.
It's a whole new economy of powerful entrepreneurial women.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if abundance is alignment, what is one misalignment women stop tolerating, even if it means disappointing people that they love?
Yeah, that's a great question. Saying no, I think they're the hardest two words in the English language for women to say, because they've been acculturated to be people pleasers and to say yes. And saying no is the only way they can do time management successfully enough to have their own business and to be successful at it. If they do not set boundaries around their schedule and say yes to every request, then they're going to end up getting out of alignment and burned out, and they will not be, as the sign behind me says, balanced, beautiful, and abundant. Because when women get depleted, they get very just frustrated and easily irritated and even resentful, and they have got to say no, like their life depends on it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a tiny little word, but it's so hard because of all the conditioning that women have had to endure and go through. And again, back to what you were saying earlier about putting everyone else first and looking after the kids, looking after your partner, looking at all the things, looking after the house, then whatever you have left, whatever's left in the tank, that's what you get. And it's a bullshit narrative that we need to shift and change.
It is a bullshit narrative. That's very well said. And it's hard to change. And the worst thing you can call a woman is selfish, but it's actually a compliment. When someone calls you selfish, say thank you.
What is something that cannot come with you into an abundant life, no matter how long you've carried it? What can you just not bring forward with you?
Oh my God, these questions are so good. You cannot bring forward self-hatred, low self-esteem, insecurity, talking negatively about yourself, either in your own internal narrative, like constantly beating yourself up, which I used to be a recovering perfectionist. And whatever I did, it was just never good enough. So it started with taking the words woulda, coulda, and shoulda out of my vocabulary, because those are words that people use to beat themselves up. And I like to say that I am in the action business. God is in the results business. I'm only responsible for putting in 100% effort. And then I've got to leave the results up to God. So I think letting go of perfectionism and being a control freak will definitely help with the low self-esteem and the insecurity that cannot be there if you want to have that balanced, beautiful, and abundant lifestyle. Which
takes the work of owning and stepping into that foundation of self-love. That's where it all starts, is with us. We are the foundation. Yes. And I love what you shared. I am in the action business and God is in the results. That is so powerful, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
It really is, because the action is actually where the fun is and where the growth is and where you learn and get to take big swings. And I mean, if you think of little kids playing, like doing a finger painting class, they're not like, is anybody going to buy my figure painting? And what's my mom going to say? And is dad going to spend any time? They're in it. Their fingers are covered with paint and they're creating and they're in the process. So I think being truly successful is being more process oriented than results oriented. It does require action, massive action, to be successful, because even though the first pillar of abundance is spiritual, you can't just sit at home on your meditation cushion praying and meditating all day. There is massive action required, but it's how can we enjoy the action? And I like to say that messy is the new sexy, and enjoying imperfection. And my affirmation is I'm striving for imperfection. I am not a mistake if I make a mistake.
Oh, I love that. Again, so powerful. So many beautiful mic drops. I love it, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
If a woman listening realizes she can no longer unsee her misalignment after this conversation, what responsibility does that awareness place on her? And what responsibility does it place on you as a teacher of this work, of the work you do?
I think once she realizes that there are 7 pillars of life that she wants to touch at least once a week, it gives her a whole new framework. And it's exciting because maybe she wasn't making time to socialize or have a romantic date night, or if she's single, have a date night with herself. Or, I think it's true empowerment, and it's hard to go back to just being a gym addict or a workaholic, or, just being obsessed with your relationship. Once you realize that life can be so much more multidimensional, it's hard to go back. But then don't beat yourself up if you don't do it perfectly. Just realize that there are these 7 areas of life: spiritual, physical, emotional, romantic, mental, social, and financial. And say, I'm just going to do my best to touch all of these areas at least once a week.
There you go. Simple. It sounds so easy and simple, but again, it takes the work, and it takes the self-discipline and the alignment and the action and the aligned action to step into and activate all 7 of those pillars.
It does take discipline. And I think you either pay the price of discipline or feel the pain of regret. And
I'll go discipline.
Yeah. I'd rather pay the price of discipline. And that goes back to saying no, like we said to other people. Discipline is saying no to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, do I really need that 3rd cookie, or do I really need to, blow off the gym for the 4th day in a row? Like, don't negotiate with yourself. You know what is your next level and all these 7 pillars, and go for it. Give yourself grace, but also go for it. Don't negotiate. Don't listen to that there's the angel and the devil. Don't let the angel, lose to the devil in every conversation.
If abundance were something that we practice daily instead of chasing, what would that practice actually look like, Rebecca?
Well, I call myself the magnetic abundance mentor because I believe that when you get your life aligned, you vibrate higher and you are magnetic to people, places, opportunities, love, money, friendship. So if you have to chase, I basically, if I have to ask someone 3 times, or if I send 3 texts and there's no response, I'm out. It's like the rule of 3. So I'm not saying never ask for anything. Invite somebody to lunch, or go to a networking event and ask people if they'd like to connect at another time. I'm not saying to not reach out at all, because I think reaching out is how you also expand your circle. But there's a difference between offering an invitation and actually really chasing someone and convincing someone to be your friend or your client or your romantic partner.
3 strikes and you're out. That's it.
That's it. People get 3 shots.
If every woman listening to our conversation could hear one final unfiltered truth from you about what it really takes to fully step into her power, her magic, her abundance, what would you tell her? What would you say to her?
I would say that happiness is a decision, not an acquisition, and that we get to choose happiness day by day, moment by moment. You can be a movie star in a $20 million mansion with Oscars on your mantle and be suicidal, or you could be living in a hut made out of straw and mud and be blissfully happy. So as much as the culture wants us to think it's an acquisition, happiness is truly a decision. And the fastest way to go from unhappiness to happiness is gratitude. To find something to feel grateful for, even if it's just having 10 fingers, 10 toes. I remember I was in a restaurant once, and I used to be an actress in Hollywood, and I didn't get the part, and I was feeling sorry for myself. And then I saw someone who needed me to open the door to go to the bathroom because they were in a wheelchair and they couldn't walk. They were paraplegic. I'm like, wow, like, so what? I didn't get this acting role. I can walk. I have 4 limbs, 10 fingers, 10 toes, lungs, heart, all internal organs are working. All 5 senses are working. There's always so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, it's just about being intentional about it and taking the time to have a gratitude practice. It is so important. Like you said, it could be the very smallest thing. Happy that you woke up today. Happy that the sun is shining. Like whatever it is, give yourself 5 minutes to sit and think about it and be great. Write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for every day. It's something so simple and easy.
It's so simple. And one of the journal prompts and the journal that I'm going to gift your listeners is your gratitude list, but there's also a surrender list because a lot of coaches and journals have gratitude, but not a lot have surrender. And the surrender list is also important for happiness because if you're having free floating anxiety in your mind about things that you can't control, you are consciously writing the things that are causing you anxiety and putting them on your surrender list and then giving them over to the higher power of your understanding.
I love that. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I am fearless. I will ask anyone anything at any time, whether they are a president, an A-list movie star, professional athlete. I just feel like don't ask, don't get. And I've asked very famous people for a picture, for their autograph, spend time, for their help. Some say yes, some say no. Some will, some won't. So what next? And I like to say that I eat rejection for breakfast. I don't take it personally. I just keep asking and I keep going.
I love that. Is so badass, Rebecca. I eat rejection for breakfast. That is amazing. And that's a great attitude to have. I mean, so what? Someone says no. Okay, on to the next one. No stands for next opportunity. There you go. So just use that. Who cares? It's about numbers. And I mean, just because someone says no, this is another thing I learned too, is just because it's a no at that time does not mean it's a permanent no. It just means not right now. And that's okay too. So just keep that in mind and move on to the next. It's all right. You will find someone that will help you with whatever you're looking for help for, whatever it is. You'll find someone. Just keep going. Don't give up. Don't let that no get you down. Don't let it discourage you. Just keep going.
I truly believe in the law of averages and the numbers. And if you ask enough people, I don't care if you are looking for like a one-night stand at a bar and you're asking people to go home with you, if you're asking people to be your next client, if you're asking people to invest in your business, like it could be the most outlandish ask, but if you just keep asking, someone's going to say yes.
For sure. How do you define success, Rebecca?
Success is the amount of joy you feel. So if you're at a high school reunion or a college reunion, people are always like, oh, this is the most successful person. They have the most successful business. But to me, the most successful person in the room is the person who's the most joyous. Because why do we want the money, the career, the marriage, the kids, the education? So we'll feel happy. So again, joy is the goal. So choose joy. And I believe that joy, true joy from the inside, not the outside in, is something that no one can take away. It's true success.
Love that. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment means, that is another great question. It means to not be a victim, to not be reliant on other people's opinions of you or other people's moods to just feel that you are an amazing, great human being with or without the approval of others.
Love it. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions
Fun.
just be.
I love rapid
All
fire.
right,
Woo!
let's go.
Oh.
What is your favorite way to celebrate?
Oh my God. My favorite way to celebrate is pizza. That pizza is my favorite food. I have a very strict lifestyle. I'm a pescatarian. I'm like gluten-free, sugar-free. I drink a gallon of water a day, all the things. But on Fridays, I get to eat whatever I want. I call it Fun Food Friday. So pizza is my happy place. I think pizza is a great way to celebrate.
Love it. One word to describe your 2025.
Oh, you mean last year?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Transition, because I went from living in LA for 24 years to coming back home to Cincinnati, Ohio, where I never thought I'd live. And I did like a whole circle. Like I ran as fast as I could to end up in the same place. 5 minutes from my high school, I'm playing tennis at the same indoor racket club I grew up playing. And it's been, yeah, I think full circle is even better than full circle year.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
One thing, find joy in the moment.
Okay.
Whatever you can find in the moment to make you happy. It's not in the future or the past, it's in the moment.
Yeah. One book that changed your life?
The 4 Agreements. Especially the agreement, don't take anything personally, because it's never personal.
Yeah. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Inspirational.
One thing that you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance.
Oh my God. I'm fierce.
One word that defines the woman you are becoming.
The woman I'm becoming is playful.
Love it. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. How do you define love, both the kind you give and the kind you receive?
Love is, first of all, God is love. That's how I define God, as love. And God or love is something you can't see. It's a way of being that is generous and all the things we've been talking about: playful, courageous, in the moment, joyful, but it is focusing on something other than yourself and taking that energy and being very intentional with wanting to just give so much to that object of attention.
If you could step into my shoes, what is the one question you would ask yourself that I didn't ask you?
Wow, you've asked me so many great questions, Brad, but maybe the question is, how do I want to be remembered in history? And that would be someone who was motivating and inspirational to women, who showed them that they could do anything at any age, and that she led by example. She was someone who showed women, especially in midlife, that they can reinvent themselves and start over at any time and have a happy, joyous life.
I love it. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Well, I would say Michelle Obama, because we both went to Princeton. She is very smart, very spiritual. She seems very humble, and she has met some of the most powerful people in the world, and she's married to someone that I really admire. She has a great marriage, so I would definitely want it to be Michelle Obama.
Okay. What is your why, Rebecca?
My why is I don't want my deathbed conversation with myself to say, you missed it. You had this one incarnation as Rebecca Whitman and you didn't enjoy it. You didn't grow. You didn't go for it. You didn't have enough adventures. So I don't want to have any regrets. And that's why I say yes to opportunities and adventures and challenges, even when they scare me.
I love that. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't take yourself so seriously. We're all going to die one day. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Just have fun and learn.
We do. We take so many people take life so seriously. It's really not that serious. Have as much fun.
I mean, yeah, we're all going to the same place. None of us are getting out alive, but while we're here, we take so much minutia and we take ourselves and what other people think of us and what we think of us and what are they thinking about what I'm thinking about what they're I mean, all of it. It's just none of it's going to matter. We're literally here for like a moment in time. And before we know it, it's going to be over. And how much fun can we have and how many people can we help while we're here? And how much can we laugh?
Yes.
Like, it's fun. It's an exercise in futility. So we might as have fun and make a difference while we're here. I think of taking a human incarnation as a vacation. Like you don't go on vacation to be miserable. You're like, you're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you're going to have experiences, some good, some bad, but it's a brief moment in time. And that's exactly how I feel about a soul taking a human body. It's literally like a vacation. So you might as well, it's going to be up, down, all around, but it's going to end. So have fun and try to learn the lessons while you're
I love that. It goes by so quick and nobody is promised tomorrow. So have as much fun as you can. And as they say, laughter is the best medicine. You might as well enjoy it.
It's a cosmic joke that we're all here for a minute. Yep. So we might as well enjoy it. I'm sure we've all lost people shockingly and unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And it's one day at a time life, and how much joy and happiness and love and how many people can we impact today, which is why I love being on shows like yours, Brad, because somebody's listening somewhere in the world that I don't know. If I help one person through this conversation, then today was a great day.
And that's exactly it. That is what we are all here for, is to be in and of service to one another, to have impact in the world through our gifts and share them with the world. The world deserves them. So it's about having that impact and having as much fun along the way, for sure.
Be a go-giver, not a go-getter, and the money will come.
That's it. Lastly, Rebecca, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Oh my God. It won't be what Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis said, all this dieting for this. It will be, oh my God, this is a deep conversation, Brad.
I love it.
Wow. You're like digging deep here. My last 30-second speech would be, thank you for the love. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the journey. I have loved every minute of it. I love all of you. Do not cry when I'm gone. Celebrate that I was here. And if I had any impact on your life, then that's what gave my life meaning.
Beautiful. Rebecca, thank you so very much for taking and making the time to be here with me today, for sharing a little bit about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you're doing, the women you're helping, the people you work with. I have enjoyed every minute of our conversation. It has been so powerful and insightful, impactful. You are a beautiful, bright light in this world, and I am so grateful to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you for showing up and shining.
Well, thank you for your beautiful interview and your deep, insightful questions. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be on your show and to call you a friend.
Thank you, Rebecca. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest has been Rebecca Whitman. She is an abundance mentor, an international best-selling author, a podcast host, a mindset coach and the creator of the 7 Pillars of Abundance. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca. Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.